I have to ask you this, finally, once and for all. Who is the greatest of all time? Jordan, LeBron, or you? You have to answer. You have to answer.
I'll answer. The GOAT committee meets in secret. Okay? So, that's just something we're not going to know about, you know? But if LeBron breaks my record in this next year coming up, that will be one last record that I won't have to worry about ever again.
This wasn't just some casual old school versus new school banter. This was deeply personal. This was about respect, legacy, and what true greatness actually means in the game of basketball. Kareem didn't dance around it or drop subtle hints. He went straight at the core of what LeBron's entire legacy is built on. And when the dust settled, the fallout was absolutely brutal. It all went down in early January 2025, something nobody saw coming. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, six-time MVP, the man who held the all-time scoring record for nearly 4 decades, sat down for what everyone expected to be a routine, friendly interview. Instead, it turned into an explosion. The second LeBron's name was mentioned, the whole energy in the room shifted. You can see it in Kareem's face. The atmosphere got tense. You just knew this wasn't going to be a polite conversation. Then, Kareem dropped the first bomb. The GOAT debate is manufactured. It's a media invention, not real basketball truth. Dead silence. The interviewer scrambled to smooth things over, but Kareem wasn't backing down. He kept going. LeBron James is a phenomenal talent. There's no debate about that. But constantly crowning him the greatest of all time, that's straight-up disrespect. Disrespect to the game's history, to the players who built this league from the ground up, and to the legends who didn't need marketing hype to prove their greatness. And just like that, everything changed. I think people will remark on the quality of his presence in 3 different cities and brought to championship each time. That's pretty impressive. And I think if that is his only legacy, it's extraordinary. But he's done a lot more than that, both on the court and off the court. And that's why I have a lot of respect for him. The way that he's involved politically and socially, sending all those kids to school. He's an amazing individual, and I think Los Angeles is lucky to have him living among us. And within hours, Kareem's words were everywhere. Twitter exploded. Instagram lit up. TikTok went wild. Sides formed instantly. Team Kareem versus Team LeBron. Old school versus new school. And right at the center of it all was the real question. What does greatness even mean anymore? Here's what most casual fans don't realize, though. This tension didn't just appear out of thin air. Kareem and LeBron have had a complicated, layered relationship for years. Back in 2018, LeBron spoke publicly about activism and using his platform for social justice. Kareem, who's been an activist since the 1960s, quietly pushed back. He questioned whether LeBron truly understood the depth and cost of that history. Then came the basketball critiques. For years, Kareem has dropped hints that team hopping, forming super teams, and controlling rosters from behind the scenes isn't real leadership. He never explicitly named LeBron, but everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. The message was clear. True legends built dynasties where they were. They didn't take shortcuts by assembling all-star rosters. Then, February 2023 arrived. LeBron broke Kareem's all-time scoring record. It should have been a beautiful symbolic passing of the torch, a moment for the ages. But that's not how it played out at all. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar embraced LeBron and handed him the ball. Cameras flashed from every angle. On the surface, it looked picture perfect, but if you watched closely, something felt off. Kareem smiled, but the smile never quite reached his eyes. His congratulations sounded polite, almost rehearsed, corporate, even. He praised LeBron's longevity and remarkable consistency, sure, but he never called him the greatest. Never said he was better than anyone who came before him. He simply acknowledged the moment and moved on. LeBron noticed. Everyone noticed. But nobody wanted to make it awkward. So, the media ran with the feel-good narrative and kept it moving. Kareem, though, he didn't move on. He sat on those feelings for nearly 2 years. And then in January 2025, he finally unleashed everything. In that explosive interview, this wasn't just random criticism or a hot take. This was a full methodical breakdown of LeBron's entire legacy argument. Kareem said the media loves creating narratives. They pushed the Jordan narrative hard in the 90s, and now they're doing the exact same thing with LeBron. But Kareem made it crystal clear. Greatness isn't just about accumulating stats or championships you assembled by handpicking your teammates. It's about elevating the entire game, bringing true innovation and surviving adversity right where you were planted. When the interviewer brought up LeBron's 4 championships and his well-rounded game, Kareem shut it down immediately. 4 championships. That's great. I have 6. But how were they won? Then came the real dagger. There's a difference between being a great player and being a great leader. A great leader doesn't run from competition, he destroys it. That line hit like a sledgehammer. Social media erupted instantly. The message was loud, clear, and unmistakable. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was saying LeBron's legacy was built on shortcuts, not substance. And he still wasn't finished. Kareem went directly at the modern GOAT debate itself. He said it's turned into nothing more than a popularity contest. Who's got the biggest following, the best PR machine, the tightest grip on the narrative? That's not basketball. That's celebrity culture disguised as serious analysis. Then he got even more personal. Kareem talked about breaking the all-time scoring record back in 1984. He said he didn't need a league-wide pause, elaborate ceremonies, or a prolonged victory lap. He showed up, did his job, respected the legends who came before him, and kept it moving. The record came purely from skill and consistency, not from a carefully orchestrated campaign for attention. The subtext was obvious. LeBron made the moment about himself. Too much celebration, not enough humility. And then came the absolute shocker. Kareem said, "If you force me into the GOAT debate, LeBron isn't even in my top 3. That's not hate. That's just facts. When you look at full careers, the level of competition faced, and how that greatness was actually earned." The basketball world was not prepared for that. This wasn't elder statesman wisdom. This was war. Within 24 hours, every major sports network jumped on the story. Debates raged everywhere. Social media turned into an all-out battlefield. And LeBron's defenders came out swinging hard. They pointed to his incredible versatility, his insane longevity, and his sustained dominance in what many consider the most talent-packed era in NBA history. They called Kareem bitter, jealous, stuck in the past, and unable to accept that the game had moved on. One analyst went so far as to say, LeBron passed him in every meaningful way, and he just can't handle it. Harsh words, but that was the energy in the air. But Team Kareem wasn't empty-handed, either. They fired back immediately. They argued that modern stars have it significantly easier. Shorter early playoff rounds, load management, luxury travel, state-of-the-art sports science. They claimed LeBron became the face of the league because brands and media desperately needed a new icon after Michael Jordan retired. Kareem supporters pointed out that he played through serious injuries, battled defenses that were allowed to be far more physical, and never once complained publicly. A former player tweeted that Kareem earned the right to speak his truth, and maybe instead of attacking him, people should ask themselves why a legend felt pushed to say this in the first place. The generational divide was impossible to ignore. Fans over 40 overwhelmingly sided with Kareem. Loyalty and staying with your team mattered back then. Younger fans who grew up idolizing LeBron saw Kareem as completely out of touch with the modern game. And here's the twist. Neither side was entirely wrong. That grey area made the whole debate even uglier. Sports shows devolved into shouting matches. Comment sections became war zones, and nobody was actually listening anymore. Subscribe if you want breakdowns that cut through all the noise, because this debate isn't dying down anytime soon. Even current NBA players started quietly picking sides. Strategic likes here, carefully chosen follows there, subtle moves that said absolutely everything. What started as one interview quickly spiraled into a full-blown cultural clash about greatness, respect, legacy, and how you honor the past while still celebrating the present. Then things got really interesting. LeBron James said absolutely nothing. No tweets, no Instagram stories, no press conference. For someone who's typically quick to defend and protect his legacy, the silence was deafening. The question wasn't whether it meant something. It was what exactly it meant. 2 days later, LeBron finally posted just a single photo of him holding the ball after breaking the all-time scoring record. The caption read, "Real ones know. History speaks for itself." No mention of Kareem, no direct response, but the message was crystal clear. He didn't feel the need to explain himself. Sources close to LeBron's camp quietly hinted that the silence wasn't about inner peace. It was calculated restraint. One teammate even suggested that behind closed doors, LeBron was clearly frustrated. This tension isn't cooling off anytime soon. If you want the full breakdown as this story keeps developing, hit that subscribe button and stay locked in. The word was that LeBron respects Kareem deeply. That's the real reason he didn't go nuclear in response. But make no mistake, he absolutely wanted to. Instead, the defense came from his inner circle. LeBron's longtime friend and business partner jumped in saying, "It's wild how legends get selective memory about their own careers. Nobody's legacy is spotless. Glass houses." That indirect response became its own story. Was LeBron scared to engage directly? Was he being mature and above the fray? Or was the silence itself the ultimate power move, refusing to give Kareem any more attention than necessary? Other current stars stepped in carefully. One said, "Kareem is entitled to his opinion, but LeBron's resume speaks for itself." Then came the line that poured gasoline on the entire fire. Sometimes the older generation just doesn't understand how different the game is now. That only made things exponentially worse. Kareem supporters jumped all over it. See, modern players don't respect the history of the game at all. Meanwhile, LeBron just kept playing. Every single game turned into a statement. Every highlight got obsessively dissected. Was he angry? Was he proving a point? Or was he genuinely unbothered? The truth probably sits somewhere in the middle. And that uncertainty only made the drama explode even more. So what does all of this actually mean for the bigger picture? Can LeBron's legacy take a hit in the short term? Absolutely. This isn't some random hot take artist on social media. This is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the most accomplished and decorated players in the history of basketball. His words carry serious, undeniable weight, whether people like it or not. Here's the real issue for LeBron. Kareem put words to something that a lot of fans, especially older ones, have quietly felt for years. LeBron's greatness is undeniable. There's no debate about that. But the super teams, the behind-the-scenes roster control, the constant team movement, the narrative shaping, all of it makes the GOAT conversation far more complicated than his most vocal supporters want to admit. But flip it around for a second. In 20 years, will this interview even register? Or will people just see LeBron's name sitting firmly at the top of every major statistical category? History has a funny way of sanding down the drama and the controversy. Stats stick around forever. Arguments eventually fade away. Now, let's talk about Kareem for a minute. Did he risk damaging his own legacy by going this hard? Maybe. There's always the risk that he comes off as bitter, a legend struggling with no longer being at the center of the conversation. We've seen great players hurt their post-career image by taking unnecessary shots at younger stars. But there's another perspective. Kareem's honesty feels genuinely refreshing. In a league absolutely full of polished, media-trained, carefully scripted answers, he said exactly what he thinks. Right or wrong, that kind of raw authenticity resonates with people who are exhausted by manufactured storylines and corporate PR speak. And here's the deeper, more philosophical point Kareem raised. Maybe the GOAT debate itself is completely fake. It's not really about basketball anymore. It's about marketing, social media engagement, generational warfare, and endless debates. It's content creation, clickbait, and arguments comparing eras that can't truly be compared fairly. If you want real basketball talk without all the manufactured fluff, subscribe and stay locked in because this conversation is nowhere close to being over. Think about it. Michael Jordan played in a different era with hand-check defenses and totally different rules. LeBron James dominates in a modern pace and space era filled with freak-level athletes. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played without a three-point line and faced a completely different level of physical punishment. How are you even supposed to compare all of that fairly? You can't. Not objectively, at least. So maybe Kareem has a legitimate point. Maybe the entire GOAT debate is fabricated. Maybe we should stop endlessly ranking legends and just appreciate greatness in whatever form it shows up, whenever it shows up. But let's be completely honest here. That approach is boring. Debates drive clicks. Arguments keep people glued to their screens. The GOAT debate might be fake on some level, but it's absolute entertainment gold. And in the social media era, entertainment almost always beats objective truth. But here's the real uncomfortable question. If Kareem's criticisms actually land, what does that say about how we've talked about basketball for the last decade? And if they don't land, if this really is just bitterness from a legend being passed by, why does it strike such a deep nerve with so many people? This controversy isn't fading away. It's not meant to. This is modern sports culture in its purest form. When legends collide head-on, someone always feels disrespected. And when all the noise eventually dies down, whose version of history actually survives? Kareem didn't just criticize LeBron. He challenged how we define greatness, how we measure legacy, and how we understand this entire era of basketball. Agree with him or disagree, one thing is absolutely undeniable. This conversation is far from finished. Subscribe for more real, unfiltered basketball debates because this story is nowhere near done. The GOAT debate might be fake like Kareem says, but the emotions behind it, those are as real as it gets. As long as legends speak their minds freely and fans defend their heroes passionately, this battle isn't ending anytime soon. If you made it this far, drop a comment below. Are you Team Kareem or Team LeBron? Is the GOAT debate fake, or is it a legitimate way to honor greatness? Hit that subscribe button because this story is just heating up, and we're covering every single twist as it happens.